sunshine time.
Welcome back to the Enjoy the Walk podcast, ladies and gentlemen. An epic guest today. We've met each other, I think, on Clubhouse is kind of how we really first crossed paths, and I want to plug that first and how we kind of intro into this. If you guys don't have Clubhouse, get Clubhouse and join our chats, whether it's Alejandra's and Lauren Elias happy hour or if it's our noon daily show. Come join. But happy to have Alejandra Schnider on the show. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. It's something where it kind of caught my eye. I think we followed you before we met on Clubhouse, but just your journey within the game of starting kind of really late in life. And I think what is so profound is the ability's out there for everyone to start as late as you did and really fall in love with the game. And, I kind of want to really focus on that today of how'd you first get really introduced to the game and where have you gone since?
Well, I began playing golf when I was 30, and I'm going to be 39 in May. So I've been playing golf for almost 9 years. And it was just one of those things that I wanted to try something new. And before I started playing golf, I'm a master scuba diver. And so my passion is actually scuba diving. And I just wanted to try something new, something that I could play with or be close to with my ex-husband at the time. And so I took a year worth of lessons, and I think I was taking 1 or 2 lessons a month. And I just was a range rat for a year. And that's kind of how I began my golf journey.
So you got started all on your own. It's really impressive, and I think another thing that I think wows a lot of people is just that being a woman in the game, getting started on your own. Talk us through that like perspective of kind of getting started and as a woman in the game. How was that to start to find your way?
It Being a woman in a sport that's male dominant is very, very difficult, uh, especially because you're so concerned with what men are thinking when they're seeing you hit a ball, especially when you're not any good in the beginning. You're very concerned about what people are thinking. Uh, and then the other thing is other women judging you, which is probably the hardest thing. You don't know what to wear, you don't know where to shop. And that's something that's very important for us women. We want to look good. And so obviously 9 years ago, I was a lot younger, a lot fitter. And so, I went to the golf course with very sexy clothes. My boobs were showing, a lot more legs. So obviously that got a lot of attention in the beginning. And then eventually, as I kind of grew in the game, I started realizing that I could dress more modestly and still be sexy. And but it's been a little challenging as a woman, but I love a challenge. And what's rewarding is being able to now beat the guys.
Well, let's talk through that because I think that's the best part of it. You're almost scratched now, which is just incredible.
Hmm.
And I mean, I call 9 years 9 short years because they do fly by. You
Hmm.
went from, I think you mentioned, on our Clubhouse chats, something around 40 to close to
40.
scratch.
Hmm.
Take us through that journey. What was that grind like? I'm going to call it a grind because it's golf and it's a grind to get to scratch.
It was really funny because I did not know anything about golf. I mean, I grew up really poor, and I'm originally from Mexico, so I'm a Mexican immigrant. Uh, and so golf wasn't something that I ever dreamed of or ever saw. It was not part of my life until when I was 27. No, actually, when I was close to 30, is when I started learning more about golf. But I was still not interested. And I mean, I began with with no knowledge of the game. I remember being on a plane, and my ex-husband's trying to teach me the scoring, and he's like, what do you call if you make a four on a par four?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't know, bogey, birdie." And he's like, "No, it's a par or even or." And so just teaching me those things.
That's
that
such a relatable conversation between any guy who loves playing golf and like a new girlfriend or a new woman in his life. That's such a relatable conversation.
That's facts. Yeah, I mean that's me right there. I had to.
I'm
My
like,
girlfriend. Yep, yep. Having to explain that from the guy's point of view, it's kind of funny hearing it from your point of view because I had
mhm,
to teach my girlfriend kind of like the concept of the game. She understood the game,
right.
but at the same time, she's like, "What? What do you call?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I came in at birdie this hole." And she's like, "What are you talking about? You're making no sense." But she's getting it now, so she's starting to figure it out. So, so when I talk to her about my round, she just nods her head, understands what I'm talking about, but other than that, she's just like, "Yeah, okay."
She doesn't care.
No, that's a fact.
So how did that
That's
pique your
awesome.
interest then? You were having those conversations, you were trying to catch on, and then you caught the bug. Where was that bug? How did you really get addicted to what is now, I think, a true passion of yours?
I think I got addicted to the game maybe like 6 months into it. I think just the challenge of the game in itself, the fact that this little white ball is just sitting there and you can't hit it. I mean, you're like, you duff it, you shank it, you skull it, you worm burn it, and I still do that. And so, and then it's the mental aspect of the game. Once I started getting into tournaments, and I mean, it was really funny because I started getting into tournaments about 2 years of playing golf, and I was like a 20 something handicap. And I remember I was really nervous and I had a caddy, and the caddy's like, all we have to do is make bogey on this hole. So he's like, because you get a stroke or two strokes. And so the goal was always making bogey. I have those people that started with me from day one and they've seen my progress. And that's been so much fun to just be able to see my progress and see how my swing has developed. And I mean, I have a video where I show my swing and it just like, it looks so bad from like day one. Obviously, you don't know how to swing a club to like now. And, some people stay in that swing for the rest of their life, and that's totally fine. They're happy with that. But unfortunately, I was never happy and I'm still not happy.
Well, I know I remember hearing you say a couple times on those clubhouse chats, you're quite the perfectionist when it comes to the aesthetics of your swing. How did that drive you, the aesthetics, and is still driving you to become better, and really focus in on, becoming a true scratch or even a plus handicap in the future?
And I think that's very important for someone that really wants to improve in the game of golf. You almost have to be a little bit of a perfectionist. I don't think if you if you're not, then you kind of stay, like I said, with the same swing for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Um, because I noticed that a lot of amateurs, they want to be better, but they don't practice or they don't get lessons. And so I always give people advice telling them, listen, you want to become better. This is how I've become better. This is how I've improved my golf game. And I remember my first swing coach, and I love him to death, Jim Delaney from Southern Highlands, lefty. And after like 2 or 3 years of working with him, I remember I went to one of my lessons with him and I said, I'm having trouble with this. This doesn't look right. And he's like, your swing is perfect. And I remember looking at the golf channel and I'm like, my swing does not look anything like Tiger Woods. And that's when I decided to leave him. And I never had that intention of leaving him because I love him. But I'm like, it's time for me to move on. And then I went to my second swing coach and then eventually my third swing coach. And he's helped me out a ton. And I'm to the point where I know my swing. I know what the swing is supposed to look like, and I work on it daily. And, obviously everybody's swing looks different and it doesn't have to look like Tiger Woods. I mean, look at Matthew Wolff, John Daly. Uh, I mean, there's so many golfers that are long and across, and it really all that matters is what happens when you're hitting the ball, you know?
It's incredible. You can go down the leaderboard each and every week, and there's no two swings that look the same. And I think that's the best part about not only the tour, but especially as you start flooding through Instagram, a lot of these quote unquote influencers all have different swings. And that's the beauty of the game. And like you said, though, it drives a little bit of perfectionist in us all. I think when we're all trying to, Dante can, I think, attest to this too. He's always working on the perfect swing plane, the perfect takeaway. We have to have a little crazy perfectionist in us to drive us
That's
better
because
in this
I'm
game.
also a perfectionist. I mean, what can I say? But same thing is, I guess you can say I started the game, like I've played the game like my entire life, but I didn't start playing the game like you have, into learning the swing, learning the game itself, learning the score, and just understanding the whole concept of golf. I just kind of just hacked it around with my dad here and there and did a couple camps, but it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago, to where I really decided I'm going to dive into this and try to build a craft out of it. And I'm just constantly like, I mean, that's just me wanting, like, I mean, I know there is no perfect swing, but I kind of bounce back and forth between, yeah, there's the swing your swing mentality, because at the end of the day, it's about what the end goal is with the number. But at the same time, there's also a part of me that's like, I want perfect. I want perfection. And
Right.
you're saying that's like, and I think that's what the beauty of the game is all about. And I think that's what keeps everybody coming back, is that there is no perfect, but you want to achieve perfect.
Right. And I mean, it makes it difficult for somebody that has a social media following, because I'm posting my golf swing and everybody's criticizing it. And I don't mind the critique. What I mind is when they're giving me swing advice and I already know what I'm doing wrong. I mean, I want to just like crawl in their computer and say, listen, if I could fix it, like tomorrow I would, okay? I
Well,
mean,
and the best critics are always your high handicappers, your non-PGA certified,
oh my God.
instructors. Those are the best that always find their ways into the
Mhm,
Instagram comments.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
if you challenge them to a money match, and then at the end of 18, when they're pulling out the checkbook paying you, I think they'll shut up.
Oh, absolutely. I
That's
know.
that's that's the
I
way to
know.
do it. That's the way
Let's
to you
dive into
do
that a
it.
little more, because I've heard the little bit of fieriness from you come out now that you're almost scratch or pretty much scratch. How fun is it to go and compete? Like with you said, when you first jumped on with the boys, with the guys, and take some money from these guys that might have little loud mouths.
Yes, and they love playing golf with me because I trash talk a lot, and I'll play from any of the tees that they want me to play. Um, so if they want strokes, I'll give them strokes, but I'm like, I'm playing from the ladies' tees, and they get upset. I'm like, I am a woman, and and they get so mad, and it's just awesome. I love competing against guys, and just because they have such big egos, and it's so funny because it's only a matter of time before they hit a tee shot out of bounds, because they want to just bomb it. And that's the problem with guys. They just want to bomb drives. And it's like, okay, I'll see you on the green. We'll
Well,
see.
because there's no chance they're gonna let you outdrive them, not with their ego.
Right. And I mean, I only hit my driver 230, 240. But the thing is, I'm down the middle consistently, and they want to outdrive me. And it's like, okay, I'll see you on the green because I know you can't chip and putt.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I gotta ask, what is maybe the most money you've ran a guy for out on the golf course, or is that still up for discussion?
um, I don't. I mean, I think the most I've made from competing against a guy is $200. Um, I don't try to, have a big money game. I mean, I can, but it's mostly just for fun and just kind of like for pride, for ego.
I see that. I feel like even if you take $1, it's still like, hey, I got your dollar.
Oh, totally, totally. As a matter of fact, I was playing golf with Shane Victorino, and we We only did it for $1, and he's still pissed about the dollar. He's
I
like,
feel like sometimes the dollar hits harder than the $200 just because it's so petty.
I know.
That's hilarious. I think you're right there, Dalton, because I think, that dollar bet right there is like, wow, really? We're playing for $1. But like you said, it's the pride aspect of it
Right, right. And I
mainly. It's
mean,
like I beat
I
you,
love
but
taking guys' money.
yeah.
I love
It's
taking their money. So, they say, hey, $100 for the front, back, overall. I'm totally fine with that. I don't care. I think they're kind of afraid, and they know that I have a I'm always posting on my social media. He lost. I'm gonna have like a losers locker room, just like Patrick Koenig.
I love it. You need to have the names
These
on the
are the
wall.
losers. Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Exactly.
That's incredible. Talking about that Instagram following too, it seems like you've been able to travel a lot of really incredible places within the golf industry. What might be one of your favorite trips that you've been able to take, since you've really dove into the world of golf?
I've been very fortunate to be able to golf some beautiful golf courses. And obviously, now that I'm a better player, I'm looking forward to golfing some more incredible golf courses and really looking forward to that. But my old time favorites, I did get the opportunity to golf Cypress Point, and I did that 2 years ago. And that was incredible. I mean, it was an amazing walk and just a dream come true. The only problem was the greens were punched, sanded, and wet.
Like a
ooh.
heartbreaker. That's just like that's a bad dream is what that is. You get to the place where you wanted to be forever, and it just sprinkles a little not so good in there.
I'm telling you, I actually was playing really good. I was hitting the ball solid. But then when it came to the greens, it was like a mud ball. And I was 3 and 4 putting, and I'm like, forget it. I'm here. Doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about the score. I think I shot like mid 80s because everything was a 3 and 4 putt. So
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if there's anything worse than bad greens, no matter where you go. I think that's the one thing that always, for me, makes or breaks a great experience.
absolutely. And obviously, I've been able to golf Pebbles several times and Bandon Dunes. I love Bandon Dunes. I've been there twice and really enjoy that golf course.
I've never heard a bad word out of anyone's mouth about Bandon. And
hmm
I've actually kind of heard the same that what you just said. They don't just go once; they go 2, 3, 4 times.
Yes,
It's that good of a property.
I know it's beautiful. The only problem for me is I have a bone condition, and walking is probably one of the worst things that I can do. And so, um, the first year that I went, which was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and I wasn't really sure about my condition and what I had yet. And I remember that the caddies were almost going to carry me because I couldn't finish. I couldn't finish playing, and I also couldn't walk. And when I went back the 2 years later, I had to have a handicap, and I got a handicap sticker and gave it to the golf course, and so I was able to get on a golf cart. But what was funny is because people don't realize that I have a handicap, and they see that I'm fit and thin, and so people were making fun and saying, "How did Miss Fitness USA get a cart?"
It's a
But
little truth that there's always a little bit more than behind. What's on the front cover. There's always a little bit more
right,
behind the scenes.
right. So even with the cart, it was still it was difficult for me. I was still in a lot of pain playing, and I still wasn't able to finish some of the holes. But that's something that I have to live with, and just being out on the golf course and enjoying just the beauty of Bandon Dunes or any golf course is just amazing to me.
Yeah, I love that. Talk us through a little bit too, about that conditioning and kind of how you use it to motivate not only yourself but maybe even others that look at it and say, "Wow, you really do kind of pursue this game of golf even with that condition."
So it's been very challenging for me because I'm a very strong individual, and before this condition, I actually used to be a lot into fitness and bodybuilding. and so I had to quit my bodybuilding because of my condition. And so my body's changed. Unfortunately, I've lost a lot of muscle, and it's been challenging because my legs are really skinny and I don't have enough muscle. And unfortunately, I can't really build that. And so 2 years after playing golf, I was diagnosed with osteitis pubis. And so it's inflammation of the pubic symphysis, and where the bones meet with each other, and there's a cartilage that separates them. Well, I have very little cartilage, so the bone rubs against each other. So whenever I walk, you just get that friction back and forth. And so it affects my entire lower body. And so because my muscles are trying to protect that area, my hips, my legs, my glutes, my back, all just get tight and sore and painful. And so I'm dealing with pain every day. And it's very challenging because now that I've gone to almost scratch, and every day is different for me when it comes to my body. So some days I wake up and I feel amazing, and some days I wake up and it's like, oh, what the hell, like I gotta stretch more, I gotta do something to be able to play golf today. And it sucks because being a scratch golfer, now I'm shooting in the mid 80s because my body is not rotating, or my body is hurting and I can't rotate or finish my swing. And like this year, in the last month, I've been struggling a lot with it the last 2 months, and I've been in a lot of pain, and I've been trying to play golf. And each time that I've played golf, I've had to stop playing after like 13 holes, or usually after the back 9 hits, and like my back starts hurting, my hips, my inner thighs. I mean, just everything starts hurting. And I'm like, shit. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to be happy just to play golf. And I'm not really going to care what I score anymore. And it sucks because I like competing, as you know, and I like playing against guys. So it's like all bets are off today.
We have a front 9 wager, the back 9 is wash, and the overall's wash. Just the front 9 wager today.
I'm gonna need strokes on the back 9. My handicap just went up.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think what's really awesome is there's a bigger underlying message there too. And the greater love for the game is why you play and why you want to inspire others. I saw you just kind of created a YouTube within the last month or so. And obviously with your Instagram, you're always out there kind of promoting the game in some sort of way. What's a lasting message you can kind of give to not only women, but men who maybe want to start the game later in life and are maybe skeptical about kind of making that leap into the game?
I think for women, I'm a single mom of 2 girls. I have 2 teenage daughters, 15 and 17. And I think for a lot of women, they get into the mindset that they become parents, moms, and that they don't have time to take up a new sport. And I always think that if you take care of yourself, of your body, then you're able to take care of your family. If you do something that you love, then you're able to take care of your family and give them that time and attention that they deserve. And it's just, for me, I usually spend 1 or 2 hours of the day just taking care of myself, whether it's exercising or hitting balls on the range. And then, if I play golf, great. If I don't, it's not a big deal. So I think it's just taking the time to do something that you love and just sticking with it. Golf is something it's very, very, it's a very difficult sport, but it's definitely doable. I mean, the way I say it is, if I can do it, you can do it too. And, having kids, having a condition, and I always say, if you're going to get into golf, take lessons at least once a month. Or nowadays, you don't even have to take lessons. You can get on Instagram or YouTube, and there's so many accounts that are giving great advice, great drills. And those are some really good accounts to follow. And the other thing is practice, practice, practice. And you don't have to go to the range to practice. You can practice at home. As a matter of fact, I have a club and an alignment stick right here in my bedroom. So if I'm watching TV and I'm not doing anything, I get up and I practice my swing plane. Something. I do something, but I have clubs all over my house. So therefore, when I get the itch to try something new, I just grab it and just practice. And I always say, you can practice for 10, 20 minutes a day at home. You don't have to go to the range.
I love that.
And
There's
that's
always
that's
a
that's what's awesome.
the sign of a true golf nut is a wedge in one corner of the living room, a putter in the bedroom, and a 5 iron somewhere else in the house. You know they've got the bug when that's happening, and I love that you're on the same page there.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I
Well,
am.
I'm sure we could go on for hours and hours, but I think we'll cut it off there and maybe bring you back on some other time to talk some other avenue of the game and but I really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks again for joining us, guys. Check her out, Golf Mommy on Instagram, MAMI, and then obviously on Clubhouse as well. If you want to plug some of your Clubhouse, be happy to let you do so because I love that happy hour chat you're in.
Yes, make sure to tune in on Clubhouse for Golf Happy Hour at 7 p.m. Pacific time, Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays with myself and my friend Lauren Olaya.
Awesome.
Love you
Love it.
guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that was Golf Mommy. Really a pleasure, Dante, to have her and hear her story. It's incredible to see the strides she's been able to make picking up the game so late in life.
Yeah, that. I mean, it's tough to play that, but I think within the 10-year span that she said is being able to go from completely not knowing the game to being a 30, 40 or whatever how high handicap you can go to basically coming down and being a scratch player. I mean, that takes some serious dedication. And I think to any listener or any player trying to get into the game or even, to the youth, I mean, take that for example and take that story in because golf is a patient game. It's not going to nothing's going to happen overnight when it comes to golf, especially golf. I've learned the hard way. I'm sure you've learned the hard way. It's a game of patience and it's a game of just consistency and repetition. And if you put those pieces together and just keep a mindset and keep grinding at it, you can change your swing. You can whatever you want to do when it comes to golf in the aspect of changing whatever you want or to get better. It can be done. You just have to be patient and be willing to put in the work. I mean, it's not instantaneously. We live in that instant gratification world. Golf is not that. It will never be that. And as long as you can do that and have that mindset, you'll be able to change whatever you want.
Amen to that, man. Thanks for coming to Dante's TED Talk.
Yeah.
I love it,
Go-
man. But no, man, let's transition into current golf news and what we're gonna see the rest of this week, and the outlook on kind of the spring here as we really ramp up the rest of the PGA Tour season. We got the Genesis this week and a lot of really really good storylines in which we want to get into here. Obviously, out at Riviera, you got 20 of the top 30 players in the world teeing it up this week out at the Genesis. You had talked, before we hopped on here. You said, "Is Dustin Johnson in?" Because if he is, I kind of like him. I want to know, with all of this star power and with all this kind of really really big firepower. There's two big questions, right? Is the world number one gonna continue to see dominance, and is he gonna win, or is maybe someone like Jordan Spieth, who's been poking the bear the last couple weeks, gonna finally see some success inside the ropes?
Ooh, that's tough to say because my last prediction I said Spieth isn't going to have a back-to-back great week and here he was, at one point leading the tournament. So who knows with Jordan Spieth? I think he'll have a good week. I mean, I don't know if third time's a charm if we want to say that if he can get it done. But I do think Dustin Johnson can go out and just, I don't know, just the way he plays and I guess the mindset he has is just so laid back and it's just another golf course to him. He's just going to pick up where he left off. And I think he just usually plays extremely well every time he goes and plays Riviera. I don't know if it's a course that just best suits his game and his eye or if he just likes it. I just think he's going to again pick up where he just left off and just continue keeping the foot on the gas pedal.
I like it. I really do. With Adam Scott being the defending champ, I truthfully don't think he's going to defend. I think he'll have a little bit of say in maybe the top five, but I don't think he's going to come and defend a guy who is basically playing in his backyard from his alma mater, where he went to college at UCLA. Patrick Cantley, I think, is one of the big favorites to personally to take home the trophy this week at Riviera. He's been absolute fire this entire California swing, and I think you can tell he's comfortable almost at home playing these courses out there in California with, like I said, his alma mater being UCLA.
Yeah, I agree with you that. I mean, especially when you're playing, like you said, if his alma mater is UCLA, he knows the California style courses. I mean, it's right there. You said backyard. I mean, anytime you get a chance to play in your backyard, I mean, you already have an advantage there. But then again, I mean, these guys are just too damn good. Who knows what's going to happen? But I like your pick there. I do think, after you saying that, I do think he's going to be up in the limelight this week.
I love it. There's a lot of firepower, like we said. Some other stories that I think deserve, some headlines here on our podcast. University of Minnesota senior Augustus Flanagan. They have a college showcase out at Riviera basically 2 weeks before the Genesis. And the winner, the single winner of this tournament, gets an exemption into the tournament. So Flanagan, who's actually from England, won in a third sudden death playoff hole to get himself into the 2021 Genesis. So really cool to see these college players get a shot at playing with the pros because of winning this collegiate tournament out there. Guys that have won this tournament in the past and gone on to play in the tournament at the Genesis. Scotty Sheffler, you might know him. He's kind of made some noise the last couple weeks. Another name, 𝑨𝑬𝑬𝑍𝑚𝑏𝑰𝑝. He's made some noise over the last couple years as well on the Corn Ferry Tour and now the PGA Tour. Sahith Theegala, the Pepperdine standout, won the tournament back in 2017. So you're putting yourself in very good company winning this college showcase. And it'll be interesting to see how Augustus Flanagan not only plays this week, but how he continues his collegiate and hopefully professional career in the next few years. And if he sees success that, Scheffler and Zalatoris are starting to see out on tour.
Yeah, it's just kind of going to just show that these guys coming up that are in their collegiate years are just the future of the PGA Tour is very promising, and it's going to be
So
awesome to
good.
watch because these kids are just absolute sticks on the course. These swings you see, and if you want to go, there's a bunch of Instagram accounts. There's some out there that just heavily, push the collegiate players. Go follow them, man. I'm telling you what, these guys have some gorgeous swings, and it's going to be amazing to see. And if you can tune into the college golf when it's on, because that's going to be very impressive to watch.
Yeah, that's something we're seeing too, and I think we'll talk about it maybe a little later. But we're starting to see these college golf showcases make their way onto CBS, make their way onto Golf Channel, and it's fun to watch. It's the future of the tour, getting their crack at some phenomenal courses. So I'm excited to see more college golf on TV and see these guys maybe start gaining more exemptions into these tour events too. I think it's a great spot for the PGA Tour to allow these young and up and coming kids a chance at what it's like inside the ropes.
Yeah, kind of like just stick your feet in the water a little bit, see what it's like. That's perfect too. And then you can also see, like, I think as a player, is what, is this really something for me too? You can kind of get, it's like the little mini internship for the tour.
Absolutely,
I think that's the best way to put it. It's your little internship.
And I think, you speaking of guys who are getting exemptions or, sponsorship exemptions into the tour, someone who's getting a second exemption into a tour event, Willie Mack III, recipient of the Charlie Siffer Memorial Exemption, obviously played in place of Kamaya Johnson out at the Farmers, and obviously struggled to barely make the cut, ended up missing the cut. But had a phenomenal learning experience out there is the way he called it, out at Torrey Pines. 74-75, that's nothing to, shake your head at and be disappointed in with his first ever start of the PGA Tour. I'm excited to see Willie Mack maybe start to find his groove here, and maybe make some noise, and make a cut here at the Genesis.
I think it all goes back to the repetition thing again. It's just getting out there and just doing it more and more and more until you just get this comfortable feeling. Because let's face it, I mean, you're on the PGA Tour, you're getting a crack at it. I mean, your nerves are through the roof. You're playing against the best players in the world. I mean, that's gonna throw some nerves on you. I mean, imagine saying like, "Hey, you're going across like doing all these other professional events, like I guess you can say mini tours." I mean, granted, these guys are still phenomenally good, and next thing they're like, "Hey, you're gonna go play up against the best 100 next week. Have at it." I mean, no. I mean, the best thing you can do is prepare at home or prepare on your local course. Do whatever you can. You really can't prepare going. They're just opening up the gates, and you're going to play with the
Well,
best of the
and there's
best.
such a difference too, and any tour pro will tell you this. There's a difference between every mini tour, the Corn Ferry Tour, the Canadian Tour, the Latin America Tour, the Chinese PGA Tour. There's a difference between all of these mini tours, and including the APGA, which Mac competes on very frequently, and the PGA Tour. It's just a different setup. It's a different inside the ropes experience. It's a completely different feeling that, like you said, until you get the repetition of feeling the things you're going to feel inside a PGA Tour event, you're not going to feel comfortable. So I'm excited to see Mac get a second hack at playing inside the ropes, and hopefully enjoy some success, because obviously, with so many 65 times he's went on different mini tour events, he's lived out of a car at one point for an extended period of time. He's put in his time. He's put in his dues. He's an extremely hard worker, and I'm really pulling for him this week out at Riviera.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, obviously, as much as I can catch, I'm going to see if I can get on the apps and see if I can follow, the guys that I want to follow. And definitely Willie Mack's going to be one of them. So it's going to be cool to see, especially all that time and effort and work he's been putting on the mini tours, and see what he can do. So,
Some bad weather for us here on the East Coast is actually good news for when we want to sit down and just binge golf all weekend long.
yeah, right. I mean, from I guess you can say the middle of the United States all the way east, excluding Florida. They're just absolutely getting destroyed with weather they haven't seen in at least 30 years. I'm hearing spots of Texas getting 8 to 9 inches of snow. I mean, we're about to get hit with the storm. So I think, the high hopes of trying to see some warmer weather come down the pipeline is a little delayed. So, nothing wrong with sitting on the couch, turning on the tube, and watching some golf.
Not at all, and not when the stakes are extremely high. Like we mentioned, the top 20, or at least 20 out of the top 30, are playing this weekend, and what that means is there's a lot of Ryder Cup implications on the line too. When you start to talk about seeding for the Ryder Cup, obviously it's a Ryder Cup year. It's going to be out at Whistling Straits in September. We've got an absolute battle from this basically the 8th spot all the way to like 13th on that list, as far as who's vying for those last couple spots, the captain's picks, things like that. Guys that are a lock. We'll get these guys out of the way. So they're basically a lock on the team. You got Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Reed. Then, with Daniel Berger's big win last week, he vaulted up 4 spots, basically from 12th to 8th, pretty much securing himself a spot unless he goes stone cold over the next couple weeks. And here's where things get dicey. At 7,300 points, he's pretty much a lock, but I would say maybe not, depending on how hot some of these guys, 13 through 18 get. But you've got Webb Simpson, Patrick Cantley, Tony Finau, and Harris English rounding out your top 12. I think those guys are locks. I don't see guys like that really struggling. But what's unfortunate is you've got really big guns on the outside looking in. You've got Matthew Wolff at 13. Obviously just an absolute stick, a young gun, big firepower that you would want to have in a Ryder Cup scenario, right? And then just Mr. Steady Eddie himself sitting at 14 at Kevin Kisner. So when you think about those guys that are on the outside looking in, who do you think, if they were to maybe shuffle themselves in and out, would you like to see make themselves, a part of that team come September?
Uh, well, I mean, we have many, many, many months kind of to go, but it's going to be sooner than later. But
Mhm.
if we had to go kind of like what we're seeing right now, Daniel Berger, I can definitely see him. I just the what he's been through and what he's accomplished and the way his game is and just kind of just going out there and playing. I mean, and kind of just trying to prove to himself who he is and others. I can see him on that list of pickings. I mean, just the way his game is, and then obviously, I think it'd be cool to see Matt Wolff play in these events because I mean, he's still fairly fresh out of college. I mean, that's pretty much what it all was at going out and playing. I mean, he knows the team game. I mean, it's still fresh into him coming out of college, so I think that would be dope to see. And then, I mean, I know it's kind of far out there, but I mean, if you look a little bit down, Jordan Spieth jumped up 7 spots.
I'm so glad you brought that up. There is no bigger. Well, him and Maverick McNeely actually look down at 27 on the list. Maverick McNeely jumped up 34 spots on the rankings in just one weekend. This is updated after Pebble Beach. This is 1 week moves. Can you imagine if Maverick McNeely goes on a little bit of a tear like Jordan Spieth is kind of going here over the next 3 months? We could be talking about not only Jordan Spieth, but Maverick McNeely also making himself a part of this team, coming from outside the top 50 in Ryder Cup rankings into a spot on the team, maybe a captain's pick come September. That would be wild.
You know that, but you know what makes this so amazing now is just look at the field of players for the United States. I
So
mean,
deep,
look
so deep.
exactly. I mean, look at all the previous years of the Ryder Cups, right? It seemed like it was like the same guys over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Now you're looking at the list, anybody can make it, and anybody would best fit the team as well based on all their games. I mean, they all have different styles, they all have different swings, but anybody can make this. I mean, look at the list. Look at even like 1 through 6 right now. I mean, DJ, yeah, Brooks, yeah, Bryson, he's done it. Look at like the other three, they've done it too. Some haven't. I mean, it's too deep, and I think it's
It
too
would be so.
unpredictable.
So putting this in perspective, it would be Morikawa's first Ryder Cup. It would be, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's not, but it would be Shoffley's first Ryder Cup as
I
well.
think so.
Shoffley's played in a President's Cup, but not a Ryder Cup. So you got two first timers, basically locks. Daniel Berger, it would be his first Ryder Cup if he were to kind of stick it out there. Same with Patrick Cantley, or was Patrick Cantley in the Ryder Cup in Paris? I believe Cantley was in the Ryder Cup in Paris. But still, when you got two first timers and basically the guys that are outside of it currently, also being all first timers, Wolff would be a first timer, Kisner would be a first timer, Woodland would be a first timer. Ryan Palmer sitting there at 16 would be a first timer. That's a lot of new blood into a Ryder Cup, which I like. I personally like. I think when it's split half and half like that, it's a good thing to have, and you got a solid mix of veterans and new blood in there to really rejuvenate a little bit of I would say fire under this USA team.
That and the fact that there's so many veterans that may be way out of the mix that can still be able to that are still playing that can still come in and I guess you can say mentor and kind of get them kind of the feel of what they're going to expect because as they always say the Ryder Cup's a different animal. It's a completely different ball game.
I'll tell you three spots that are just veterans that are just guys that I think might make a push. 23, 24, and 25 right now in Ryder Cup standings. Tiger Woods, Matt Kuchar, Bubba Watson. All guys that I think if they don't make the team are some sort of vice captains anyway because of the experience they've had as Ryder Cup participants in the past.
I mean, shoot, Bubba Watson didn't make it the last time and he just showed up. He's like,
He
I'm
said,
just going to
"Hey, let
show
me
up and
help.
teach.
Let me
Yeah.
help." Yep.
He's like, they didn't even ask me to come here. I'm just coming here out of my goodwill because that's how much he loves the Ryder Cup and that's how much it means to him.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, like those three right there will definitely, their faces will for sure be around when Ryder Cup time comes to play, whether they actually ask to be on the team, whether they make it to be on the team, whether they ask to mentor, or just as Bubba Watson sure did, just show up.
I love it. More guys need that mentality like Bubba Watson has, just to show up and be a part of it because you can, because you
Yeah.
want to be a part of it. And I think that speaks to the greater good of not only the USA team, but the greater good of where golf's going as a whole. So guys, if you want to follow along with that, you can go to www.rydercup.com/rankings. Super easy to follow along as we continue through the spring and the summer months here on the PGA Tour. It's going to be a fun thing to kind of keep tabs on, because there's a lot of implications. If guys really catch some heat through majors, even points can really rack up quick, as Maverick McNeely, as Jordan Spieth have kind of already proved with their massive jumps over last week to this week. So fun to keep along with that and see where that goes as concerned to the USA team. We are a USA podcast, so we will not get into the European rankings because that's a whole nother kit and caboodle, which we just don't have any expertise on.
No, sir.
But speaking of USA golf, something I think we have to hit on, which is big news within the game of golf. The USGA's next CEO has been, I guess you could say, ordained. He has been crowned. Mike Wan, who has come over from the LPGA Tour. So he was the CEA, or the commissioner of the LPGA Tour, for almost a decade, and basically stepped down from that role to take and resume the role of the USGA. Now this is interesting, Dante, and I want your opinion on this. He claims to take this role, promising he's going to be the loudest advocate for the game of golf. And I want your take on that. Do you think the USGA already is the loudest advocate for the game of golf? I know they're very active all the time with the R&A of making rules calls and making rules changes, but how do you think the USGA can start to be the loudest advocate for the game of golf?
Listen to the people. I mean, if you want to talk about the loudest face in golf, I honestly think it's the podcasts out there, it's the influencers. Those are your loudest. That's where the game is. I mean, on a whole, this is mainly for like a high amateur professional level.
Mhm.
I really don't think. I'm not saying they're shooting themselves in the foot, but they're not giving themselves a good look right now. So if he wants to say what he's going to do, put your money where your mouth is, and I would say listen to the people, listen to
Well,
the
and
vast
and
majority.
he really did focus on the people. In his kind of quote unquote acceptance interview, he said the USGA has a unique role in golf terms, and we need to lead the way the people want us to lead. So he said we need to get the people to come along with us. So I think he actually understands, from the point of view of saying, listen, your bread and butter, your industry is not the tour pro. Your bread and butter, your industry is the people that make the golf world go round and round. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any change in direction from previous, USGA stances. If he doubles down on this distance debate, if he attacks other avenues within the game that the USGA has maybe not attacked in the problem before. Something that I'm excited to see is, as the USGA moves into Pinehurst as the home of golf, how does he embrace this new move towards Pinehurst, and how does he embrace American golf as a whole within the USGA? I think that's a lot of talking points, which will be interesting to see which moves he makes.
Yeah, be very interesting. I do think it's interesting, and I also think it's kind of cool to see is you. I guess when you think golf, right? To me personally, I usually think kind of golf meccas in a way, kind of where you go, your destinations, like where is golf really like shining all the time? And you
Mm-hmm.
think, Southern California and Florida, right? Not really too much else. But now you're kind of changing the location a little bit, and you're throwing it right in Pinehurst, which is kind of like I mean, it's on the East Coast, but it's right in the middle. I mean, I guess you can say from north to south, right? And it's, I mean, they have this huge property land, multiple courses. I just don't, I think it's like, I think it's a great opportunity. and having him in there and saying what he wants to do and utilizing Pinehurst as this like this golf mecca kind of this home base. I think it I think it's going to be very special if they make the right decisions and go down the right path that they are implementing and trying this and telling the people.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of crazy. Obviously, the world we live in 2021, a new announcement like this will never go without any criticism. And people were quick to jump on the fact that a white male was taking this industry lead again. And I want to focus on some of the LPGA's comments, not only LPGA as a whole, from a boardroom, but the LPGA from the players. Everyone knows the LPGA itself is extremely diverse. You've got women from North Korea, South Korea, China, Japan, obviously the United States, the Netherlands, South America, North America. You have women from all over. I think if you look at the LPGA as a whole, it actually might be one of the most diverse groups of professional sports that there is out there. And when you look at the LPGA as a whole, there is nothing but massive praise for the job that he has done within the LPGA as to bring awareness to growing the game within girls, within women. So he was asked, you know, is this going to detract from your love for the women's game? And he said, actually, if anything, it's going to really help me focus on it. He said he's never going to lose the special place in his heart for the women's game. So I truly think he's a phenomenal fit. When people have kind of approached him on tough topics before, he's often gone off script, and really spoke from the heart. And I think when you're looking for a CEO that's leading a nationwide organization that makes decisions on a global scale, that's what you want. You want something that's going to speak from the heart and not read from a transcript.
Oh, no doubt. And because that's where when you get in those positions, there's usually the transcript of where you're trying to appease everybody,
Mhm.
or say the right thing. When you speak from the heart, and you can totally tell the difference between when someone's speaking from their soul and speaking from their heart and what they truly believe in, to whether when they're reading to a transcript just to basically say the right thing. And that's good to see that he's on that path and coming from the LPGA. I'm in hopes to see, if you're talking about diversity, I want to see more mixed events, man, with the LPG and the PGA. I'm going to keep stressing that. I think that would be a great, if he's in that, with him in that position, I think that would be a great push to get something going, to start seeing events like that all across, not even just in the pro side of things, even down to the high AMs. I think you can create so many more events that I think you'll get a lot of interest in some players to go out and play and do some men and women events like better ball team stuff. I think that would be very interesting. I think a lot of courses would be cool to see set up like that. It's gonna be. I'm in hopes. I have high hopes, and optimistic on that aspect.
Yeah, no, it's something that's incredible too. You know, you talk about the growth of the LPGA over the last decade. I think that's been evident. He took over when there was less than 5,000 members in the LPGA USGA girls golf program. As he leaves today, there's more than 90,000 girls in that program now. He took that program and basically transformed it into something that's booming and is truly growing each and every day, more than anyone I think expected when he took over. So it's things like that that have proven that he is a true innovator. I think when it comes to the game of golf, and understands, hey, let's grow this for everyone. And I'm excited to see what he can do with the USGA kind of under his fingertips now.
Yes, sir. It'd be interesting to see. And like I said, it's like, hey, what they say, put your money where your mouth is, and let's see where it goes.
Absolutely. Well, let's maybe dumb it down here. Still talking golf organizations, but on a much more local scale. Let's talk about GAP. The Greater or the Golf Association of Philadelphia has released their BMW match play schedule. Dante, you play in the GAP events and the team events, so you play at a Running Deer. You're kind of maybe headed back to the old stomping grounds of Scranton, Pennsylvania for the first matchup, as if it couldn't have been written any better from a Steven Spielberg movie. What's the deal with Gap, man? What has Gap got going on for Running Deer this year?
So let me pull that up real quick. I had it saved. Yeah, so Gap release. This is like one of the biggest events. Like obviously it's our team event. So many courses can play in it. We've discussed before how large Gap is, and the course memberships throughout the board that are a part of this association, which is great to see. And it's sponsored by BMW, and basically it's I've said it before, it's match play, it's team match play. Take your bet, depending on how many teams you have and how many guys interested to sign up. You take your best 12 guys based on each team, and you kind of have like it's a 3-week span, kind of round robin of matches. 6 guys go away, 6 guys stay home. And you get bracketed off into there's multiple divisions. There's division AA, A, B, C, D, and down to E. And then within those divisions, they put you in a section. And since Gap is very large, they try and keep it relatively close. But the essence of the whole thing is more about it's friendly competition. It's mainly bragging rights, but it's all about the camaraderie. It's about going out, meeting new people. It's about having the opportunity to play courses that you probably wouldn't, mainly a lot of private courses. And it's an opportunity for you to go out and see these type of courses and play them. And maybe like one day that you end up moving to a different location, and now a course that you like to play, and maybe you're interested in joining. So it's kind of just like a giant group thing. Everybody looks forward to it. It does get intense. So our first team beat Marion a couple years ago to advance themselves from the A division.
Brush the shoulders off.
Little lone brag right there.
Little
Beat
flex,
Marion.
little flex on them.
Yeah, to put themselves into the AA division. And that's kind of that division. That AA and A are kind of like the top, obviously the top 2, but AA is kind of the one everybody like kind of focuses on. That's like that's the division. That's where the trophies are all that. So we're in it. And if we look, we play Lulu Country Club, Hartfield, sorry. And going back to the stomping grounds, Running Deer plays Glenmora National, which you and I know. We've played it multiple times. It's right in our backyard for the college that we went to. You've played it on the team, and I'm assuming you've played it in the championship, the CSEC championship, right? You've played it there, so you know the course.
Sir.
I know the course. So that's kind of cool too, because then we can kind of tell anybody who's going there. I told them, I said, listen, depending on you pick or whatnot, I can give you a rundown from hole 1 to hole 18. So that's going to be a huge advantage for our team to get some points on the board. So I'm excited. I saw that get released today. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I mean, even like all the other divisions are playing some dope ass courses in the area. I mean,
man. I mean, I'm looking at this, and this just speaks to how incredibly vast and how good Pennsylvania golf is. You said you guys are in the AA division, kind of your highest of high. You guys are in the same division as Aronimink, obviously big event holder there, PGA Tour event. Philly Cricket Club.
They have 2 teams.
Yeah, they've got 2 teams. The
2
Aronimink,
teams.
Philly Cricket Club's got 2 teams. You're in there with Glenmora, obviously. Division A, kind of even underneath you, which is absolutely hilarious. Another Philly Cricket Club, Scranton Country Club, which is notorious. We've talked about that plenty of times. Marion is actually a section below you now because you guys beat them. It's wild to me how good Pennsylvania golf is, because I'm going all the way down here. Division B in the Gap is Atlantic City Country Club. Incredible course out there. We play that over the summer in the Barstool Classic. Courses like Trump National, Bluebell, our buddy Rocco will probably be out there with Bluebell's team.
You got DuPont in Delaware. That's huge. The DuPont family. That's a huge name in the Wilmington, Delaware area.
And you're getting down huge. I was gonna say you're getting down to those guys in Group B. So it's like it's wild to me how good Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, Delaware Valley area golf is, and how incredibly vast this entire team match is.
Yeah, it's cool. I love seeing it, and I love seeing that the clubs are. Because you have to, like, I think it's like the club itself buys into it, or they basically have to say they want in. And that's what the beauty of it is look at all these courses and look at the number of teams because you can see when you look at it, you're seeing like, here you go. Here's a Cherry Valley. There's 1. There's Mercer Oaks 2. There's DuPont 3. That means they have like that's their 3rd team. So it's awesome to see that. Look at all the courses they're playing in it, and look at how many teams that course has. I mean, that just shows how many people are of their members want to play, want to meet new people, want to see new courses, and at the same time want to compete. They want bragging rights. They want to go out and say their club's the best. Like, we came out and dominated you guys. And I mean, what
I'm gonna tell you right
better
now,
can be
what's
that?
really, really cool is if you scroll all the way down to Division D, Division D's got 32 sections in it. That's the D division. That's basically the 4th or 5th division of this team match, and it's got 32 teams in it. Running Deer's got a team in there. Running Deer 4 has got a team in there.
That's new this year. That just
Yeah.
shows Running Deer, we're getting even more guys interested in trying to compete and play in this, and we had to add a 4th team because of the interest we got of guys wanting to play.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that, you got Saucon Valley, which is an incredibly beautiful golf course out there in the Lehigh Valley area. Like you said, Wilmington, Aronimink, another course there, Harrisburg Country Club. Dude, it's so cool to see that clubs have to add so many teams because there's this much interest in it. Golf is in such an amazingly good spot, and I think the Gap just really puts an exclamation point on a insane event to kick off the year.
Yeah, it's always exciting, and it's nice because you have 3. If you're playing in it, you have 3 solid weeks of just phenomenal golf, just absolute tournament style, just straight grinds, and it's cool because like here's the one time like we played last year, right? We won our section, and if you're in the A division or you're in the AA, well, let's just say you're in the A division, or we were in the B division, sorry, which we still are. And we won our section. We are allowed to then challenge up to the loser of one of the sections of the A division. And when you go and you play them, if you win, you bump them out of division and you move up. Well, last year we played Schuylkill Country Club, which I thought was near me, but it turns out it's actually near it's it's near the Yingling Brewery.
Okay, little
Yeah,
Pottstown, Pennsylvania.
little Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Because I'm thinking, everybody talks about the Schuylkill. I mean, in my area, Schuylkill is a highway right at like on the border of Philly, or right through Philly, right? We all know the
Instead, you're
Schuylkill.
going to middle of Bumble,
We know the
Pennsylvania.
We know the Schuylkill River. We know Boathouse Row. We know all that in like the Philly area. I was saying like, and they sent me the Schuylkill Country Club. I'm like, where the hell is this at? Turns out it was all the way up in Pottstown. I was like, Yingling. I was like, all right, cool. But the best of it, we went out, played, we grinded our asses off. We didn't get the W, but we had a hell of a time. We saw a phenomenal course. And then afterwards, we went into the lounge. They had basically like a full meal for us. We sat down, we lit up the cigars, we got the drinks going, and then we were just all basically kind of like in a circle, just shooting the shit and just having a good time. And that right there is pretty much the beauty of it all.
Oh, there's no doubt. When you get to go experience a different club and be welcomed into their atmosphere, there's just no other camaraderie like that.
No, you hands down. I don't think you can beat it. I don't know if there's other. I know you play in the Maryland.
I think you can, Dante. I think you can.
Yeah.
You want to know where I think you can?
Maryland?
No, Pinehurst.
Yes,
North
sir.
Carolina, buddy.
Yeah. That's on the list.
It's not only on the list, guys. We are booking our trip for Pinehurst for Masters weekend, and we want you guys to come with us. So if you guys are interested in coming down to Pinehurst and playing, we're going to most likely do a 4, maybe 5-day trip that 8th through the 11th, Masters weekend. And what better way to spend it than the other home of golf in the United States at Pinehurst? We're going to play Tobacco Road. We're going to play number 2, obviously, because we have to, being our first time down there. Maybe number 4, maybe number 8. I don't know what other couple courses we're going to play in there. We're still going to bat that around.
From. And then the other question is, obviously we'll get the Cradle in, but do we play a signature course and then play the Cradle afterwards, or do we go number 2 to like another number? Like, do we play 36? Like, what do we do?
And the other question is too, right? Do do we get together with somebody else that's outside of the Pinehurst area? That's, do we go to Mid Pines? Do we go to Talamore? Do we go where else do we go? And I think that's the exciting part. So guys, if you want to be a part of that trip with us, just reach out. We'll gladly get together and book something together. Like I said, it's going to be the April 8th through the 11th Masters weekend. We're going to head down to Pinehurst, experience everything they've got to offer, drink a few brews, kick it back, and just have an exciting time walking the grounds of a legendary property at Pinehurst.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait, man. We were talking about that. We're like, let's do it. I mean, because we're going through some serious golf withdrawal with the weather coming.
I'm hurting. I'm hurting.
We are hurting.
We need something to look forward to. And if you're on the, you know what, I was going to say if you're on the East Coast, but that doesn't even cover it anymore. Texas is getting slammed. The rest of the United States, other than Florida and California, is getting slammed. So I know everyone out there is hurting right now. If you want to have something to look forward to, the more the merrier. Be our guest, book a trip with us, come down to Pinehurst Masters weekend and watch it. I mean, here's the other thing too, right? We can't play too much golf because we got to watch a little bit of the Masters while we're down there, right? Or is that just a Sunday afternoon thing when we're down at Pinehurst?
Oh, that's tough. I say we get like the radio playing or something while we're out playing golf. And
I
then
couldn't agree
Sunday
more.
when
Best of both worlds. We got iPhones.
yeah, we got iPhones, we got Bluetooth speakers. We might as well, I mean, listen, like music's great and all, but we can also, mix it and switch it up and turn on the PGA radio and see what the hell's going on.
Absolutely. 100%, man. Well, guys, that's it from us this week. If you want to go to check out more from us, you can go to www.enjoythewalkpod.com, scroll down to the bottom of the screen and sign up for our email newsletters. That'll keep you guys informed with everything we're doing as far as podcasts, blogs, trips, whatever. You guys can stay up to date via that platform. And if you guys can go to iTunes and give us a rating and review, we just changed up our cover art so you guys can see our new cover art page at Enjoy the Walk Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You guys can find us there. Leave us a rating and review. And if you screenshot that rating and review, tag us in it. We'll send you a little something special as well. So, guys, that's it from us this week. If you want to know more, like I said, just reach out on Instagram. We'd be happy to DM and chop it up with you and come to Pinehurst with us. Come on. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to have the time of our lives. So, guys, that's it from us this week. As always, get out there, carry your clubs if you're blessed enough to have some warm weather. We aren't, so we're just going to kick it back and watch some golf this weekend. But that's it, guys. Enjoy the walk.